No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, so this is gonna be a rant. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm coming in here on that type of energy, you know what I'm saying? Because something that I've noticed that has become even worse as time has gone on. There's always been people being critical. There's always been people that have had some strong opinions. There's always been people that have been going against the grain or just in general coming through and saying, yo, this is how I feel and you may not like it, which at the end of the day, everybody's free and entitled to their opinion. However, I feel like coming with the new gen of anime and manga fans, and while it's been prevalent, it is running rampant nowadays, is the fact that everybody is being unrealistic and being too harsh and just expecting more than what is possible from these manga authors, from anime, manga, all of this medium, because I'm noticing that just not only is everybody pretty much a critic at this point, everybody knows everything, everybody knows the ins and outs, even though they've read one manga and this is their only manga, but they know everything. They know about story structure, they know it all. It's gotten to a point where it's starting to make it not that fun to talk about anime and manga. It gets to a point where it's like everybody is constantly negative. Everybody is constantly looking at the bad, the bad, the bad. One of the things that I strive for, that I constantly try to push, whether it be in my reviews, whether it be in my opinions that I throw from time to time on the news and stuff like that, is I try to be balanced and fair. I try to say, yo dog, here's the negatives and here's the positives. Here's the points where you're gonna be like, hey, here's the good stuff that happened and the bad stuff that happened. Because at the end of the day, everything has good and bad. Even if you feel like an anime is absolutely terrible, even if you feel like, yo, this chapter was straight cheeks, there's something there that you can argue is, hey, it's of quality. Like at the end of the day, for starters, if you read a chapter, and this was kind of inspired somewhat by some of the stuff in Chainsaw Man, don't worry, I'm not going into any type of spoilers. I'm not even going to really talk about Chainsaw Man like that, but ultimately, there's something there. Like for starters, hey, there's art. Whether you want to go into whether or not that art is to your liking, nevertheless, hey, this is 18 pages, 20 pages, 15 pages, whatever, of hard work, of shading, of drawing the characters, all of that stuff. So right there alone, despite the fact that you may not be satisfied with the story or flip, that is something to compliment. That, hey, there's some art, and oftentimes, unless it's one of those roughs where occasionally the authors, they just can't get the chapter done in time and it's a little rough, for the most part, it's decent art, anywhere from decent to great. You got already something that is to say, hey, this is actually to appreciate. You can appreciate the art. But you know, art isn't just enough. A lot of people, they look at it as, oh, okay, cool art. We don't care. We want more than just cool art. And ultimately, therein lies the problem, that people feel like when a manga doesn't do what they want, when a manga is going a certain direction that they feel is not to their liking, everything is garbage, everything is trash, and that's just that. And that's definitely something of a false mindset to have, a negative mindset to have, and it's not going to allow you to enjoy, because people constantly forget, and I feel like I come in here to remind people that, hey, we go to anime and manga for enjoyment. Now, what that enjoyment may be varies from person to person. Some people, they just want a really cool looking chapter. Some people, they just want the epic fights. They just want big gigantic battles. Some people, they just want some really good comedy. They want to get a laugh. So enjoyment is of course subjective, the most subjective, because hey, you going to a manga for different reasons, but it all stems back to enjoyment. And this new mindset that I would argue definitely this more new generation of anime and manga fandom that kind of came in almost, you would argue, even spoiled. It's come to a point where it's like there's nothing that can be done that will please people. Now I get it, everybody isn't going to be happy and satisfied and pleased all the time. It's just impossible. But from every platform that I talk about anime and manga on, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Twitter, whether it be YouTube, whether it be whatever, it's constantly just that here's what's wrong with it, this is bad, and dog, that is just miserable. miserable. Like, honestly, to constantly just only focus in on negativity is miserable. But especially I've seen, like, with newer manga, that if you're not getting things off the ground and we're not doing insane gigantic plot twists within the first 2 or 3 chapters, oh, get it out of here. Something that I noticed, because I've been watching a lot of live action lately. If I'm just keeping it real, I just finally caught up to one of the greatest live action shows of all time, Better Call Saul. And one of the things I noticed, a very nuanced small detail that most people aren't going to catch or aren't going to understand why it's done, is that there are small actions, right? There are times where it's like things that normally would be cut for time, things that normally people would say it's just boring, why are you showing it? For example, a phone being in the other room and ringing, and seeing the actor get up, walk over to the phone, take its time getting to the phone, and pick up the phone. Or just, you know, hey, we're gonna see them go pick up the trash, walk down the driveway, put the trash in the can. And those are small elements of building more of a bond with that character, because everybody has tedious things to do, right? Whether it be that you gotta go and walk to the store and pay your cell phone bill, whether it be, again, throwing out the trash, whatever it may be, people do tedious things in life. So when you see those actions, for a lot of manga readers now, that's like, why are we seeing this? I don't care, move it along. But those are elements that are building that character, giving you more time spent with that character, and ultimately adding so that you care about that character. And a lot of times, especially, again, I gotta keep on stressing, in anime and manga, people are so harsh on those moments. Like the latest 4 chapters of Chainsaw Man, there's certain elements of, hey, we're seeing slow build up with the characters. Now granted, Chainsaw Man 1, nothing about it was slow. Everything with Chainsaw Man is show, not tell, while with Chainsaw Man 2, it's more so telling a lot of, hey, here's the character walking, hey, the character's putting on shoes and stuff like that. And I appreciate those elements, and I understand the importance of those elements, but a lot of anime and manga fans, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to see it. They want insanity, they want blood, gore, and I think that it's really ruining a lot of people's time. Like, I've noticed, I've seen in comments over the last few months alone, a lot of people saying, I'm just not that into anime and manga right now. I'm just not really digging it. And while there's different variables, absolutely, as to why people would fall out of the medium, it could be burnout, it could be so many different wild ideas. Ultimately, for the most part, I feel like a lot of it is people are ruining the experiences for themselves. Granted, criticism is always valid where criticism is due. Hello, I review stuff. Hello, I've been harsh to a certain degree with Boruto as of late, because, like I said, criticism comes where criticism is due. If you are a straight year of showing somebody throwing out the trash, of slow pacing and stuff like that, hey, it's time to give criticism. It's time to say, yo, dog, now we gotta pick it up. Now you playing around. But I noticed that it's with weekly stuff, with anything, it's just constantly everything is bad, everything is wrong, these mangaka can't do anything right, considering the fact that these authors are literally killing themselves, working 20-hour days, hunched over on desks. You gotta look a little bit more behind the whole process other than your own entertainment, and even then you ruin your own entertainment. I feel like it's just a big mess at this point, because a lot of people, whatever the way they got into anime and manga, is not like back in the day. Back in the day, we had the luxury of being with these manga for 5, 6, 700 chapters. Nowadays, you ain't getting that. Everything is a lot more quick, a lot more smoother. Like, for example, look at Demon Slayer, 205 chapters, if I'm not mistaken. Boom, whole series done. Boom, you got the anime that is going to be action-packed and whatnot. So we come from a little bit of a different time too, where I could appreciate the subtleties of going through slower paced chapters. Like One Piece right now, end game stuff. One Piece is at pretty much the climax of all climaxes that you've had in the series. Like, it is God tier now. I can absolutely faithfully say that One Piece, damn near every chapter, has just been amazing. But you don't get to that until you get to 1,000 chapters. You don't get to that when you're early on in the first 100 chapters and Luffy is first starting to get his crew. He's fighting these small-time pirates. He's doing small things. So you're enjoying the craziness and the insanity of what's going down in chapter 1050-something, but you're not remembering that, hey, chapter 1, Luffy was getting on a ship. He was in a barrel. And so people are really excited and really hyping things like that, and then they go to another manga, for example, again, like Chainsaw Man, and they're seeing that, oh, the first couple chapters is kind of slow paced. It's kind of just building things up. And they're calling it trash. They're saying this is a dumpster fire. Like, dog, you telling me that you can't give an author a grace of, give me the first volume or two before you completely dump on it and say it's absolute trash? I get it with anime. It's a little bit different because with anime, a lot of people usually give it the 3-episode rule. 3 episodes is about an hour, a little more, depending, 22 minutes an episode, more or less. So I understand that because, okay, you got an hour of my time. If you don't hook me, boom, understandable. But with a manga, you could read a chapter sometimes in a few minutes. It could take you, 5 minutes to read through a chapter. So you're telling me you can't give an author a grace of, here's 2 volumes worth. Then you can come to a conclusion on whether or not this shit is trash. Then you can start looking at it from a different perspective. But I feel like there's just too much negativity constantly. There's criticism where criticism is due, and then there's just a generation of anime and manga fans that are spoiled, that are looking at everything through a magnifying glass. If something is slightly off kiltered, it's like, burn it with fire. And dog, let's remember what we came here for: to enjoy, to laugh, to scream out this is epic, not to constantly be under a microscope and shitting on everything every single week. Like the people that come to a Black Clover review just to say, oh my god, another shit chapter, or people that go to My Hero Academia to say, oh god, Horikoshi's dropping the ball here again. Like, I understand maybe a little bit more with longer series, like, hey, you've gotten to a point of 200-300 chapters and you've had a string of bad chapters, then yeah, we gotta go in on it. But I just feel like with everything damn near all the time, there's always something constantly negative, and majority of anime and manga fandom is getting to a point of not necessarily enjoying things and more so coming to be scientists and break things down to a molecular point and ultimately come to the conclusion it's shit, it's trash. Cut it out. We come to this medium for enjoyment and entertainment. Stop being so damn critical about everything all the time. We are getting to a point where we're not enjoying this anymore. What's the point then? That's all I had to say. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And yeah, anime manga for life, but enjoy that anime and manga for life. Don't constantly criticize everything all the time unless it's due. And even then, give some grace to some of these people. Yo, these authors work really freaking hard. Have an awesome one.
So just go to find me.